loudly as you can. And
Is this what's picking it up?
yes, yes.
Okay.
But look here, and just tell me a little bit about how long you've been doing business with Auto Lab and what they do for you. I mean, obviously they fix your cars.
Absolutely. I just have to think when they opened.
I think I was the first one who started going to Auto Lab. Do you think so?
You were, and then right after that, we bought the two Explorers. I bought an Explorer from Kevin, and so did Terry. And I think we've been buying cars from Kevin ever since, because he fixes them up and gets us a great deal on cars that we know he knows are good. So, when was the first time we were?
I remember I was thinking earlier that the kids were so little. We had 4 kids, and they were definitely in strollers. And I think I was in downtown Libertyville, and my car broke. And it just happened that Kevin was right down the street. I was pushing the stroller, and I stopped in there, and he got the car and fixed it, and that was a long time ago.
Exactly.
Our daughter is 22, and I think she was a baby.
I think the biggest thing was whenever we did anything with Kevin, without a doubt, he put our satisfaction ahead of everything. And it's been that way for now 20 years. And, to a T, he's taken care of us, and then on recommendation by us, my brother's families, and has really just done an exceptional job. And with Sherman on board, the whole philosophy of the Auto Lab shop has carried on, and they just take great care of people, and they do whatever it takes to make sure that they meet our needs. And at times we had big expenses, and they said, hey, go ahead with it. It's safety first, and we'll let you make payments. And they've just been great. They treat us like that we're part of their long-term family, and we're going to be that we're important to them. I think that's the biggest deal.
Absolutely. My husband is a businessman and has run his business very similarly to the way Kevin has run his business all these years, with just making the customer definitely be the first and foremost thing in the business. And I mean, you just call, and both Kevin and now Sherman are very pleasant on the phone. You ask them, how are you? They always say wonderful,
They know exactly who you are. They remember everything from the beginning of the first time we met Sherman. He knew about us before we knew about him, so it was a very good experience. I think the other thing was, just a year ago, I'm driving my son's truck, and the engine blows up in the middle of the highway, and literally within a week there's a new motor in it, and they just took such good care of us with that one, because couldn't have Ed go without a truck for a week.
Are there some other examples? You both mentioned that they take care of you and they treat you like you want to be treated. Can you give some examples of what that means to you, what's important to each of you when it comes to good service?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that's really different is it's great service. It's they do a great job on the vehicles, but the reality is it never seems like they're trying to do that. It just seems like that's what's in them. That's how they really feel. That's what's important to them, and it just happens to be what's right for the customer. So it's not a push for them. It's definitely the way they want to be. So I think they're taking their personal philosophy in life, and they're giving it to their customers, and it shows. I mean, it's definitely a authentic, genuine way of doing business.
And I know too, from a woman's perspective, going to the mechanic can be kind of an intimidating, um, you know, a lot of times you feel like, first of all, a mechanic sees a woman and they're gonna think, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Um, so I've always, I mean, I remember going to mechanics before we started going to Auto Lab and feeling, you know, just kind of funny about the situation, feeling very much like I was going to be taken advantage of. I never ever once felt that from Kevin, and I always felt like, you know, he would explain things that, you know, if I wasn't sure what was wrong with the car. I mean, I don't really know the first thing about cars. He never ever made me feel funny or dumb about it. I felt like I could make decisions based on what he was telling me, and I felt very much like he was telling me the truth, and he would not ever think of taking advantage of me. So.
I agree. I think the other thing is we have a lot of cars. We have a lot of people that live here, and so we have a lot of needs. And Kevin has always been great about keeping things going until they finally hit their last days, and he gives us great advice. So at some point a car is not worth keeping going after a while, and you need to go move on to something else. And he does a great job of, one, giving us options, and two, helping us not invest in something that's going to cost more and more and more over time. So he's done a really good job in advising us on the right way to manage our transportation. So
it sounds like you buy cars used, or if you buy them new, either way you keep them for a long time. Is that
yes.
an accurate understanding? Okay. And
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about what your philosophy is as far as maintenance goes, and how they help you with that?
Sure. I think the biggest thing is safety. You know, there's obvious things. When you hear the brakes grinding and things of that nature, that's a pretty acute situation, and you take care of it right away. We go in and get things taken care of. But then there's the standard maintenance that, you know, we get help with remembering to do. You know, the 100,000-mile checkup, things of that nature. Just recently we had a situation with spark plugs that, you know, some of the Ford trucks have really very difficult spark plugs to remove, and they were able to manage it very well and save us a ton of money. And we really appreciated their, both Sherman and Kevin's ability to help us make the right choice, and saved us about $800 in managing that repair. So, I don't know, what do you think as far as?
What I really have always loved about about Auto Lab is that you can call them, I mean, obviously during their hours of business, but they always have room to take your car. I mean, if you're having you have an accident or you have something wrong with the car, they will just say, bring it in, just bring it in. I remember going to a mechanic before we met Kevin, and he would be cranky, first of all, cranky all the time. And then, you know, as if you were doing him this huge favor by bringing your broken car to him. And then, you know, it was always a mystery. When are you going to get the car back? It would be like a week, 2 weeks. You just wondered what the heck's going on. Usually, it's like a 24-hour turnover. And if your car is going to take any longer than that, they will 100% get in touch with you to let you know within, you know, say the first day that you've had it there, if it's going to be longer than 24 hours, or you know, if you're maybe not needing to have all the work done that they saw, or they usually do really prepare you for what work will be done, and they take you, and it's super prompt.
Is there anything else either one of you would like to mention that I didn't ask about?
Well, first off, I think what she said, Auto Labs always has room. I don't know if they always have room for us, but they always make room for us, and they know us. I'm sure they know all their customers. They take the time to really understand the families and the people they're working with, and I think they make room for everybody. So they're committed to people, I think, and that makes their business work versus committed to their business, and they hope people help their business work. So they really put their customer first, and they put themselves second, and it's a very impressive philosophy, and we appreciate it with everything we do with our vehicles. So they've just been great to us. And when Sherman came on board, it was really exciting because he carried that same philosophy, which is so hard for a family to carry it from one generation to the next, and he was totally in step with that same exact authentic way of doing business. It was very exciting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both darling.
Yeah.
Nancy, do you have anything that you would say to somebody who's considering, either they're looking for a new auto repair facility or they're considering auto lab? How would you summarize, or what would you say to them to encourage them to use auto lab?
Well, I have. I have definitely referred a lot of people in the community to Auto Lab. When we lived close, right by there in Libertyville, I don't know, it just seemed like we had more car issues back then, but once we moved out here, we still had, we still had car things, but we got a new car and whatever, so, but I do recommend them. I recommended them to many people. I have a couple extra cards in my purse, I'm pretty sure, all the time. And I just basically say, if you're looking for a mechanic who will be so pleasant, talking on the phone or, just in person, who is just so not your typical cranky mechanic, which, you hate to say it, but in, the world of mechanics, usually they're kind of cranky. And then, someone who is very honest and truthful and who's just genuinely a happy person, happy to, help you with your car issues. I've recommended them to a lot of people in the community.
Any other thoughts from either of you?
I think the biggest thing is trust. They're the most trustworthy people we've ever worked with as far as getting any repair done, from refrigerators to tractors to our cars. So, and they're people you just want to know. We like them as friends, even though we don't hang out with them. They're the kind of people you want to hang out with. They have great values. They take good care of people. And it seems like it's the way they treat everybody. So it's who they are, and that means a lot to us.
Just a follow-up question on that. You both mentioned that they're trustworthy and they're nice people, and I've been in the industry so long that I don't know how trust is demonstrated. So I guess I'll throw that back to you. What is it that they do that communicates that trust and honesty?
Trust is, if you have more than 3 experiences with anybody, there's going to be something missing from a conversation. There's going to be something missing from the story if it's not for real. And there is never a flaw in the way they treat people. It's who they are. It's the way they do things. It's what they're all about. So it's authentic, and that builds trust. I think trust takes a long time. It takes a bunch of encounters, and we've had, I don't even know how many, but we've had a lot of encounters with, and a lot of experiences with Auto Labs, and not once did we ever experience anything but absolute integrity. They act just the way you hope your kids act, and they've never ever deviated from that one time. So.
Plus, Mike knows a lot about cars, so that's very helpful. If I say, okay, the car's making this sound, or it seems to be doing this, he will say it's probably whatever, and then I take it to Kevin, and he pretty much, Mike is almost always right, and will say, Mike
you
is
heard
not
that.
your,
That's pretty good.
he's not your average, I don't think, he knows a lot about cars. So, based on that, when Mike talks to Kevin, I gotta believe that because Mike does know a little bit about cars, that he's not, they can kind of, it's not like you just say, here, my car is broken. He usually knows what's wrong with it. So, every time, Kevin has always been, spot on, told us exactly this. Mike will say, well, you know, what about this? So, and Kevin never has ever tried to like pull the wool over your eyes or, you know, try to take you for, oh, you know, kind of like that spark plug thing. I mean, I had no idea. The car just turned over 100,000 miles, or our big truck, and it has goofy spark plugs. And so Sherman called me and said, hey, these are really difficult. You know, maybe it would take a lot more time and money to change them out. We don't have the tools here. This is kind of an odd construction or whatever for the you know, the way the truck is built. I mean, they could have taken $800 and done it, but instead, you know, he was honest and said, we don't have the tools. How about, you know, you consider taking it to the Ford dealer? So, I mean, that's integrity right there.
And they actually did have the tools. It's just they had to use one of their special tools to retrieve half their spark plug. So it was a very difficult repair. I shouldn't say repair. It was something that should be mundane, but because of new technology became a pain in the neck. So, but I think at the end of the day, they do a great job repairing. They can handle very complex repairs, and they balance the value of the vehicle with the customer and with the repair, and they help the customer make good decisions. They're not in it for a big repair. They're in it for a long-term customer, and that shows every time you see them, over and over and over again. And again, that's why they build trust.
Yeah, and I mean, when we were buying the farm years ago, I was looking at trucks, and I found this big used Ford 250 or 350 or something, and I took it over to Kevin, and I asked him, hey, what do you think? And he basically asked me, well, what are you going to be doing with this? And he actually took the time to find out, you know, what my needs were going to be as far as using it on the farm with the horses, and told me straight up, I don't think it's a good car. You should try to find something else. This would be, you know, not a good fit for you. And I mean, he took the time to, you know, be straight up with me, and I mean, there have been several times when we've done that.
Great, thank you both so much. I just wanted to confirm that it's okay that we use this on their website, or pieces of this.
Oh, sure.
And
Sure.
possibly also in some online ads that would go directly to their website.
Sure.
Oh yeah, no problem. I just wish I didn't look like hell.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
I've been sick, and I didn't even. Yeah, I'm doing great.
And is it okay if we use first and last names, or would you prefer first name, last name?
Middle names only. That's no, you can use them.
Yeah, I guess we're fine, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you both so